Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today the Houston Texans have released defensive back Kendall Sheffield, who played 3 seasons with the Falcons, where 2019 and 2020 and 2021 Texans picked him up like last year. They picked him up at in last season. I think mid-season, some point like that, and he didn't play any games for us last year. And then the Texans, when they released starting center Justin Britt last year in March, they signed Kendall Sheffield to the active roster, and that was his way to get in. And he played the first preseason game. He played a little bit in the preseason game, week 1, against the Patriots on Thursday. And he didn't have any tackles, didn't really do much, but was out there on the field for the Texans. But the Texans are releasing him today to open up some roster spots to sign the following players: quarterback E.J. Perry, wide receiver Adam Humphries, and wide receiver and kick returner Victor Bolden Jr. Let's go over his stats. 2020 with the Falcons, Sheffield played in 9 games with 4 tackles, and that was literally it. He didn't do anything else. He had no other stats. 2020, he played 13 games with 9 starts, 3 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 51 tackles. And then 2019 with the Falcons, played 16 games, 11 starts, 3 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 46 tackles. So he's been solid for the Falcons, and he's been okay for the Texans in the preseason and training camp, and And he's been on the roster for almost a year now. So now the Texans are releasing him in order to pick up some of these other guys. The Texans had a roster spot open once they released Jake Bates, kicker, who was the kicker for the Texans in Thursday's preseason game. And then after that happened, they had one roster spot open. So then they released running back Xavier Valladay and Sheffield. So they had 3 roster spots open. So they signed quarterback E.J. Perry, wide receiver Adam Humphries, and wide receiver Victor Bolden Jr. So I like the pickups for the Houston Texans today. Sad to see Xavier Valladay go, but the Texans have a lot of depth at the running back position, and I think they know who's going to be at that. Those 3 running backs for the Texans during the regular season. You have Mike Boone, Devin Singletary as the backup running backs, and then Dameon Pierce as the starter. And those are 3 running backs right there, as for the first 3 running backs. And then you also have Dare Ngabalawe, who apparently the Texans like more. They like Dare Ngabalawe better than Xavier Valladay, and would rather keep him on the roster. So and they have a couple other solid running backs on the roster. You guys have your thoughts on the roster moves? All the roster moves the Texans made today. They made a lot of roster moves today. Well, if you don't include Jake Bates I'll include Jake Bates being waived yesterday. So Jake Bates being waived, Xavier Valladay being released, Kendall Sheffield being released, signing AJ Perry, that's now 4. Signing Adam Humphries, and signing Victor Bolden Jr. That's 6 transactions in the last day. So Texans have been making some roster moves after the first day, after the first preseason game, and getting sooner and sooner to joint practice week against the Miami Dolphins, and then preseason week 2 on Saturday. You guys have your thoughts? That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Texans.